Hello folks, this is Sullla once again. You're listening to another video from League of Legends, this one featuring Jungle Hecarim. This is another game taken from one of our YouTube nights. This one was actually played on a Friday night since I was occupied on our normal Wednesday time. In this game you're going to be seeing VarisNox playing and jungling as Hecarim, and alongside him is me, Sullla, playing as Lulu, Elmo playing as top lane Trundle. That's something you very rarely see, but a top lane Trundle. Hilariously playing as Ziggs, and General Futbuck playing as Ezreal. I'm not a huge fan of that name. I'm just going to probably call him Ezreal in this game. Then on the other side we have a Kosups playing as Ezreal. We have Fallen Asylum playing as Thresh, support Thresh. By the way, Thresh, I'll have to do a video on Thresh sometime soon. Thresh is a really interesting support champ and is considered to be very strong. He's one of the more recent champions. Actually, he's the most recent champ as I record this video. We also have Hot Muffins playing as Nasus, HNNGGH, no idea how to pronounce that, playing as Talon, and then it is Sam jungling as Amumu on the other side. So, anyway, interesting match. What I'm going to try to do is showcase Hecarim in this game, just because I don't think I have done a Hecarim video before, but not in Season 3, and he is quite a strong champion in Season 3. He has been getting played a lot in competitive play, particularly in North America. Europe doesn't seem to like him quite as much. Europe doesn't seem to like him quite as much as a champion, but he is a strong jungler, and this turned out to be a game that featured Hecarim quite a bit, so we'll see that. Anyway, right here, note, here comes the invade, and I am slow to react right here, and watch, gonna get pulled by Thresh right there with his hook, and then fail the flash, and so, yeah, that was all kinds of failure right there. That is not paying enough attention at the start of the game, reacting too slowly, not using exhaust, which possibly would have saved my life, and then also failing a flash over the wall, which also would have gotten me out of there. So, like I said, that was just poorly played all around, and not too much more to say other than that. Anyway, though, like I said, we're going to try to focus on Hecarim in this particular match. So, Hecarim is pretty much always played as a jungler. I have seen him played in top lane, but jungling is definitely his strength. He is a champion who starts out rather weak, but he scales really well into the longer the game goes on. He is a carry jungler in the sense that the longer the game goes on, the stronger he becomes. And he is someone who you don't really want to see at past like the 40-minute mark in a game, because he scales really well with farm, and he has some of the best ganks in the game as he gets more items. So what makes him special? His passive he gets extra attack damage as he builds more movement speed. So he also gets the ability to walk through minions, is able to ignore minion collisions, as we see a little action down there in bottom lane, but can run through minions, doesn't have to worry about that, and gets a bonus attack damage equal to 10% of his movement speed. Anyway, his bread and butter skill is his Q. This is what he uses. He spams this to clear the jungle, deals physical damage to nearby enemies, and it's on a very slow cooldown. It can stack up to 2 times, so you can use this over and over again. His W is might possibly be his strongest skill outside his ult, is what allows him to heal damage, deals magic damage over time, and he's healed for a percentage of the damage. This is what makes him really tanky in late game team fights. And we'll get to his other skills in a minute. But right here, Ezreal is going to get hooked. He's going to burn the flash to try to get out. I'm going to use exhaust on a Kosups. The Kosups will flash and Mystic Shot to get the kill, but VarisNox is on target here. He's coming in. He has that red buff for the slow. I'm going to use the Glitter Lance to also get the slow. There is the Glitter Lance, and Varus will pick that off. So it's a 2-for-1 down here in bottom lane. Not too terrible for the other team, though, even though it was a 2-for-1, because check out our Ezreal player. 3 minion kills, is only level 1, still level 1, whereas Varus playing as Hecarim here is level 4. So that's not too bad for the other team, but it was a nice pickup there to come down from the jungle and clean up that kill. Otherwise it would have been just a total disaster for our team on the blue side. So anyway, what this did mean was that Hecarim now has quite a bit of gold to spend early in the game, and as I said, that's something you never really want to see. You don't want to see Hecarim getting a lot of gold early on. In fact, if I check out the gold total, he actually has the most in the game by quite a bit, 1,800, and the other lanes are way behind. But hey, that's what an early kill and an assist will do for you in lane. Alright, so other skills for Hecarim. I mentioned you max his Q first and his W second. So can see maxing the Q, putting points in Rampage for the extra physical damage is what you spam to clear camps. His E is pretty interesting. This is a long cooldown, but it gives him extra movement speed for 4 seconds. And his next attack knocks the target back and deals more damage based on how long the duration of the charge was. Anyway, here we go. So let's keep an eye on this. Here comes the dash in, and there it is on to Talon in mid, and going to be able to pick up that kill as well. So that is now, what is that? Now 201, and this is just exactly the kind of start that you want when you're playing Hecarim. So his E is his initiation. This is what allows you to get into, and attack people. Of course, along with, you can use this along with his ultimate as well, which I'll get to in a second. But I mean, this is sort of his key initiating tool. It's a little weird because of the knockback. The ability to use the knockback is sort of what separates good Hecarim play from bad Hecarim play. So anyway, here comes VarisNox in again, but their team did have the ward at Dragon, so they're going to know that they should back off there and get out of that particular situation. Then finally, I'll use to highlight the ultimate here, Onslaught of Shadows. This is where Hecarim dashes forward, summons a bunch of little ghostly riders. He dashes straight forward. It actually has pretty good range. And by the way, there's another kill pickup in bottom lane. A bit needless there, but Ezreal was severely underleveled as a result of dying earlier. So anyway, dash forward with the ult, and it fears whoever is nearby for 1 second. So you can reposition enemies. It's a great initiation tool, and you can reposition enemies by dashing backwards. Yeah, note the you're already level 6, indeed. Other team a little bit surprised that the jungler is level 6 so quickly. Now, the other thing that works here is remember that this all scales with Hecarim passives. Anyway, we're going to go in and go for the initiation here. A bit of a mistake, though. Varus goes after a Kosups, and Ezreal just has too much disengage. There is the Ghost to try to get out. I'm going to have to burn Exhaust. And that engage was perhaps not the best there. Perhaps a little bit over-aggressive in terms of estimating how much damage Hecarim would do there. So, Ghost burn to run out. And typically people pick up Ghost, not Flash on Hecarim, just because Ghost scales really well with his passive. By the way, action in top lane. There we go. So Elmo's going to pick up that kill, and there was just a kill in mid. As it turned out, Talon along with Amumu were able to pick up a kill in mid lane a second ago. Anyway, though, so haven't seen the Hecarim ult come out yet, but it is a great initiating tool, and of course, all that stuff works well with his passive. So again, Hecarim gets bonus attack damage from building more movement speed. So when you pop Ghost, you actually not only get the movement speed buff, but you get extra damage as well. So anyway, we have been trying to focus on this bottom lane because the bottom lane was the one that was in the most trouble. Ezreal is pretty severely behind. Our Ezreal, at least, is behind their Ezreal. Pretty severely behind down here. And, oh, Fallen Asylum does manage to get that blue pill recall off and gets back to base. So anyway, this bottom lane is being won by the other team, being won by red team. The top lane, though, is being won by our team. Elmo has picked up the first kill and is you know, starting to get strong. Let's check out the gold. Yeah, he's about 400 gold ahead in that top lane. And then mid, our team is actually slightly behind, but just by a little over 200 gold. And again, that's due to the kill that they were able to pick up with a nice gank from their jungler. It is Sam playing as Amumu. Now, in terms of itemizing on Hecarim, the item that people have been building is to, let me go ahead and highlight it, is to get the Spirit Stone initially, build the Butcher's Machete, or whatever it's called, I think it's Hunter's Machete, well, whatever the item's called. Buy the machete first, then 5 health pots, build it into a Spirit Stone, and then go for the Spirit of the Elder Lizard is the item people are liking on Hecarim right now, because it's the item that gives attack damage, and Hecarim does scale with physical damage, scales off of attack damage, so that item seems to work pretty well. I believe that it now has cooldown reduction on it as well, although don't quote me on that. People like that item, and then they also like a Sheen, this is what the Sapphire Crystal's for, a Sheen into an eventual Iceborne Gauntlet / Frozen Fist. So that seems to be what people are liking right now. Anyway, so we're trying to set something up here in mid. We'll see if this turns out to be successful. Amumu's in the area as well. Amumu's right up there. I have to keep an eye on that too. Doesn't look like there's too much potential here. And as it turns out, Hecarim is just going to back off. and look to head up here to top lane. Interesting matchup here in top lane. The laning Trundle against Nasus, not a common matchup. Anyway, here we go. Here comes VarisNox in. He has used his E. There's the knockback on the charge. A good pillar from Igo Elmo. There is the ultimate, again, repositioning Nasus. Meanwhile, there is a kill in middle lane, 1v1. And are they going to be able to pick this off? No. Nasus going to use his own ult, going to use his own ghost, along with Wither, is going to allow him to get out of that. And then meanwhile, diving behind the tower in bottom lane, Kosups is going to pick up another kill. I was sitting there waiting to use Lulu ult on our Ezreal, but they actually went ahead and picked off my Lulu instead. And I was expecting the attack to come on our Ezreal, so reacted too slowly and was bursted down. So bottom lane, a true disaster for our team right now. 3-1-1 on the part of their team. They even have this ward here, and by the way, this is a nice ward for playing aggressively. This allows them to see if a lane gank is coming. They'll have vision. Let me go ahead and show their vision. See, this is their vision. They'll be able to see if there's a lane gank coming, and that's Hecarim's most common way to gank, is through lane, just because of the way his E works, allows him to just dash through lane. So they've been playing really aggressively, but they've had the ward coverage to do that. And so, again, our team needs to try to do something to flip this bottom lane around, because it is just not going very well right now. If I check out the gold total, their Ezreal is 1,700 gold ahead of our Ezreal. Almost 2-to-1 lead in terms of gold. And that's a bad sign. That's a very bad sign when... well, anyway, let's keep an eye on this fight here. So anyway, Talon pops ult, and hilariously going to flash out. Meanwhile, now Varus does have that red buff, and unfortunately the Ignite's going to get the kill there. Meanwhile, Talon's going to dash back. Is Hecarim going to be able to pick this up? And Talon goes down to 10 HP, and just needs to chase it down, but no, the Amumu ult coming out, and the Rake will finish that kill off. And that is one sad pony when a play like that happens. So beautifully played in terms of Talon. I'm afraid I can't really pronounce this name. Just using his stealth, using his dash on his, what is this, his cutthroat to reposition himself. And Amumu just coming in at the perfect moment to be able to stop that play from occurring. So Talon goes down to 10 HP, but it is a 2-for-1 kill. And the red buff went over to Talon as well. Yeah, actually, double buff goes over to Talon. So that's not a good sign. And red team has a nice lead right now in this game, 2.5k. One thing that they probably could have done here is they could have used that advantage to go and put pressure on Dragon. But we haven't seen them make any move there thus far. So that would have been one thing they could have done here. Anyway, in bottom lane, we're just trying to survive as best we can because their Ezreal is so far ahead, and Fallen Asylum has been doing a great job of using pink wards to control this brush. He has used the gold advantage to buy lots and lots of pink wards and just control the rush, something that you should do when you get ahead. Meanwhile, VarisNox is trying to set up a gank in bottom lane, in mid lane, but he's unfortunately standing on a ward. And here's the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. Well, actually, there's a 1v1 kill on top. Igo Elmo has managed to pick that up, and he's starting to snowball ahead. Anyway, getting back to this, I will highlight this. Oh, never mind, they're going in right now. There is the Talon ult coming out, but going to use the Hecarim ult defensively and dash out of there. So a nice escape that provides just enough mobility to get out of there. And Amumu ult was down because it was used in that last fight. So just barely getting out of that. Nice reaction in order to dash out of that. So here's the Spirit of the Elder Lizard. And meanwhile, down in bottom lane, another dive. Trying to highlight this item, but people keep dying. I keep dying elsewhere on the map. So, a little too much going on. Anyway, I will highlight this. 50 attack damage, 10% cooldown reduction, and then the health and mana regen of the Spirit Stone. So again, the attack damage is obviously welcome on a champion who scales off of AD, and the cooldown reduction is also nice. This item has been buffed in quite a bit in recent patches, and making it a more attractive item. Anyway, hilariously coming down, the exhaust is well placed there by Fallen Asylum, but hilariously is going to get one kill on a Kosups. Now we're trying to come in and help this out. A nice use of the satchel charge there for the escape, but it's not going to be enough. That kill is going to be finished off by Fallen Asylum, but he had to burn Flash to do it. So traded 2 for 1, got the Flash and the exhaust down on Fallen Asylum. He did use both of them in that little fight right there. So 2 for 1, and a pretty good result for our team, blue team right there. Something that will really help me at playing as Lulu and our Ezreal player in this bottom lane, just because now the flash and exhaust are both down, whereas my exhaust is still up. So that little play helps us out a lot in this bottom lane that we're losing very badly. Anyway, check out what's going on in top lane. Blade of the Ruined King on Trundle here in top lane. So yeah, the attack damage and life steal. Trundle does scale mostly off of attack damage. I believe his skills are all scale off of attack damage. Yeah, look at the bite there, scaling off of that. Let's see. Actually, Pillar doesn't have any scaling, and Contaminate doesn't have any scaling either. So yeah, okay, that's probably part of the reason why he's not played that much. But yeah, interesting build here, and it seems to be working because Elmo is ahead 2-0 in top lane. Elmo is, I'm sure, playing more for fun in this game too. He's not taking the game super seriously with top lane Trundle, and that's fine in a custom game like this. Anyway, more action in bottom lane. Once again, Fallen is playing aggressively. He has this brush warded again. I mentioned before that that is a really useful brush to have warded. They also have a level advantage as well as a big item advantage. Check out the BF Sword and the Brutalizer on a Kosup's Ezreal compared to a Vamp Scepter and a Doran's Blade. That is a lot more damage and a lot more armor penetration. So 120 attack damage on our Ezreal and 182 on their Ezreal, and with a lot more magic or armor pen. Anyway, in comes Hilariously, trying to gank right here. We're a little split on who we're trying to go after. Hilariously's going after Fallen Asylum. I was going after a Kosup's there. I don't think we had enough damage to finish either of them off, but splitting damage like that is never really a good idea. Anyway, here comes a Mumu, and here comes Talon as well, setting up to try to counterplay this, and Hilariously is going to get himself caught in a bit of a bad spot right here. He's going to use the ult. It actually gets off a lot of damage on a Kosup's, but it's still not going to be enough. And there is that Lantern Pull being used on Thresh right there. So, just getting caught in the wrong situation. Anyway, Varus is going to ghost and charge in, going after a Kosup's, and oh, he is very low. But again, we are diving a Mumu under the tower, and right there going to get stunned and pulled under the tower. Out comes the box, out comes the Mumu ult, and oh, that may have been a little bit too aggressive right there. So now our Ezreal is going to have to get these kills. I'm going to use the Lulu ult. There's one kill. Kosup's is still sitting around right here. I'm trying to tank the tower to provide Ezreal more time to get these kills, but I tank one tower shot too many, and then a Kosup's will finish that off, and that play did not work out at all. That was 3 for 1 in favor of their team, and we only killed the support. We only killed Fallen Asylum's Thresh, so that was not a good exchange at all. Not a good exchange in the least. So that's the kind of play you want to avoid making in a situation like that. Diving under their tower while Thresh and Amumu both have their ults up. A little bit too difficult to get out of there. So attempting to make a play, but that one didn't work. And meanwhile, we're going to have to try to rely on Elmo in top lane. There comes out the Ignite. See the Wither, but Elmo will flash after that. Does he have enough damage? Yes, the Ignite will pick that off. So even though the Wither came out from Nasus, that Ignite was too much damage. Also saw Blade of the Ruined King used there as well. Meanwhile, here in mid, Hilariously is going to pick off one kill. I think that may have been a disconnect, a short disconnect there from Talon, because he was just kind of standing in place. But we'll take it at this point. We'll take that 500 gold going over to our team off of that killing spree that Talon had. He was had gotten 4 kills in a row, I believe. So it was worth a 500 gold. Yes, a 500 gold killing spree right there. And there's a teleport coming into top lane. Okay, anyway, so back to Hecarim. I mentioned that the skilling order path was to go Q first, 5 points in Q, then W second, 1 point in E, leave it there, and of course max the ult whenever it's available. So anyway, there is the devastating charge was popped, but there's just really not much here to work with. And their team has had really good ward control. Fallen has bought so many pinks. He still has yet another pink in his inventory, and has just been putting that gold to good use that he had from getting ahead in this lane. I mean, if you check out the gold total, he is 1,000 gold ahead of me in the support versus support matchup, and their Ezreal is what, about 2,500 gold ahead in this matchup. So yeah, it's been a really rough bottom lane, and we just have not played it very well. Right now, VarisNox is just hanging around to try and prevent them from diving us. Have managed to sort of get them separated here, but it looks like Fallen is still going to be okay. In terms of items on Hecarim, again, went for the Spirit of the Elder Lizard, and then again, now going for the Iceborne Gauntlet next. So that is what the Glacial Shroud is for. Mana, armor, and more cooldown reduction. So cooldown reduction pretty important on Hecarim, just so he can use his Qs more often. And again, here comes Fallen trying to ward that brush. Again, are we going to try to go in? Nope, decide not to do so. in this particular fight. Again, note that Dragon has not been taken by either team, and I do feel like that was a little bit of a mistake by their team, just because they had so much control in bottom lane. They were way ahead in bottom lane that they could have taken Dragon pretty easily with the amount of control that they had there. Granted, Amumu's not great at doing Dragon, but I do think that that's something they could have focused on. I mean, they have it pink warded. We don't have any vision on it right now. And right now here, oh, right here, Fallen is going to get a little overly aggressive. He dives behind the tower. And, yeah, he dove behind the tower by himself. But watch this. Oh, our Ezreal walks right into the true shot. Really could have dodged that. Actually walked into it. Really could have avoided it. But now we're going to go in after a Kosups right here. There is the knockback in terms of Hecarim. I'm going to use the exhaust. And then, let's see, we're going to get the knockup. And then the Hecarim ultimate is going to be enough to get the shutdown. And that's going to give 400 gold over to Hecarim in terms of ending that killing spree. So Ezreal did not have flash up. He did use his arcane shift, but was repositioned by the Hecarim charge. The knockback was repositioned by the Hecarim ultimate. So two ultimates used and exhaust used in that particular fight, but did end a killing spree. So I'm going to say it was probably worth it to use all that stuff. And now the other thing is, this is an opportunity to get this bottom tower. We want this tower. We need this gold. Really need this global gold because our team's behind in the global gold. So to get to end a killing spree and get that tower, was it worth it to use all those summoners and ultimates? Yes, I think it was worth it. I think that it was worthwhile because we're just, you know, losing so badly in this bottom lane, and that has equaled up the gold total in the overall game. So 30.2 to 30.2. So the big mistake there was really caused by Fallen Asylum. He's played a great game thus far, but chose to dive 1v1 under tower against Ezreal, and that was just a mistake. And by giving away that kill, he really set up his own AD to get dove, which is exactly what ended up happening. Anyway, and you never want Hecarim stacking up more gold. So Hecarim now 3-2-2. Hecarim has significantly more gold than Ezreal on our team. Ezreal's actually pretty low on gold, so you never really want to see that. Anyway, Fallen has picked up yet more pink wards. I'm sure he's going to sweep out our vision yet again in this brush. Here comes VarisNox back yet again, has the red buff, and remember they don't have a tower back here right now, so this is something we can chase on. So there is the dash in. There's a great knockback with the charge and the Hecarim ultimate, and again no tower back there for safety. We also have the red buff, so again we're continuing to chase this. Remember, still no tower back here, so there is the speed up from Lulu, and Lulu actually works quite well with Hecarim. There's the knockback again on the devastating charge, still using that red buff, still slowing. Out comes the Amumu ult defensively. Now over here, going to go after Talon, going to continue to chase this down. There is the speed up once again, the E on Hecarim for the speed up, and Ezreal going to arcane shift over the wall and pick up that kill. So now, actually have a bit of a lead down here in bottom lane, and this is going to open up Dragon to be claimed. Again, I mentioned before, with the amount of control that their team had in bottom lane, really do feel like they could have gotten that Dragon, but they didn't make an attempt to take it, despite really good pink ward coverage. Really good pink ward coverage by Fallen Asylum. He had it pinked almost the entire game, but for whatever reason, they didn't choose to go for it, or just didn't communicate. And that allows us actually to take the first Dragon and get out to now a 3,000 gold lead, despite everything. So if you look at the gold totals now, our Ezreal still really far behind a Kosups. Their Ezreal still 1,500 gold behind, but 1,500 behind is a lot better than 2,500 behind. And the gold total on Trundle and on Hecarim is really starting to look pretty good. Trundle is about 1,500 gold ahead, and Hecarim is about 2,500 gold ahead of Amumu. And I mentioned before about how well Hecarim scales throughout the game. VarisNox is sitting on 3,200 gold. Hilariously is sitting on 2,000 gold. And I go almost sitting on 2,500. So that's a whole lot of gold that we're all sitting on. Anyway, though, their team takes out the bottom lane tower, and then watch this. Nasus is going to go after the top lane tower. He's going to put pressure on that, and then Talon's going to go after the mid tower. So we just lost bottom tower, and then we're going to lose here in the mid lane tower. Mid lane tower goes down, and top lane tower goes down too. So they got all three towers in the span of about 30 seconds right here. However, we're going to catch Fallen Asylum trying to ward. There's the knockback. We're going to catch him out. There's the Hecarim ult, going to reposition him. Now we're going after a Kosups. in the back. He's going to disengage. Hilariously, he's going to use the satchel charge to get out of this, and now Talon has gotten caught in the back lines as well, and it's not really going to be possible for him to get out of this. That's going to be finished off by Hecarim. Here comes the Ezreal ult too late, so once again, catching people a little bit out of position. A nice disengage from Hilariously when it looked like he was going to die. Now, we're going to go in and engage, but we see Nasus. We're like, oh, we better turn and deal with, we really should turn and go after Nasus in this fight, so that's going to lead to another disengage here. After all, Trundle is not with the rest of the team. By the way, check out this Trundle build. The, let's see if I can click on him. The Brutalizer, Blade of the Ruined King, and Warmogs. I have no idea what this build is. I wonder if Elmo is just making it up as he goes along, but, I mean, it is working. He's winning this top lane, and he's winning it pretty decisively. So that's a really nice sign right there. Meanwhile, on... Meanwhile, on Hecarim, pick up a Sunfire Cape as well for the tankiness. Also picked up the Ninja Tabby because the enemy team is very heavily AD stacked. They really do not have any magic damage aside from Amumu. And Amumu is not going to be dealing that much magic damage. He is building straight tank, so he does not have like an Abyssal Scepter or anything like that. Doesn't have any ability power. So we can go very, very heavy armor stacking with our particular lineup just because their team does not have a source of magic damage. Ezreal, Talon, Nasus all dealing physical damage. Even Thresh is physical damage too. His skills are all physical, which is why you sometimes see the AD Thresh being played. Anyway, right now, looking to try and set something up in mid. We have Hecarim kind of behind their team right here. So there is the E, pop for the movement speed. Talon going to get knocked back right here. And Talon has popped his ultimate, so he is invisible. But that's, VarisNox is going to continue to go in after that. He just popped the Ghost. There is the repositioning with the Hecarim ultimate, using the Fear to chase them away. Talon is going to go down right here. Amumu goes in up top here. Fallen is really, really low, but he is going to shield himself. However, out comes the Ziggs ultimate. And Hilariously is going to pick that one off. Meanwhile, Ezreal was going after me. I was able to disengage. In comes Nasus right now. And we've still got a good fight on our hands here. We need to try to do something to kill this Ezreal in the back line. So he's just going to pick everyone apart. That is really the problem. We're going to need to disengage from this fight. I'm going to use the Wild Growth on myself. And then hit on a pretty good Glitter Lance to slow them. So we're going to disengage from this. Right now it's a 2-for-1 in our favor. But our team is quite low. And their team is in a good position to push this middle lane. However, Elmo has now come down from top, and watch. He's going to come in. There's the Contaminate, and there is a beautiful pillar slowing 3 members of their team. Varus will charge in and catch Ezreal in the backlines. I'm going to use Exhaust on Nasus right there, in part to cut his damage, in part just to slow him. He turns around, but it's too late, and so the double kill for laning top lane Trundle going to come out, and that turns the overall exchange into our favor. So I believe that overall that was a 4-for-1 if you consider the long-running fight. And our team's looking to be in pretty good shape now. We're ahead by 5 kills. We have about a 3,000 gold lead here. So it's still a close game, but feeling a little bit better about this game. And in particular, as Trundle, now 5-0 Trundle, and Hecarim continue to get more farm. Feeling better and better about our position in the game as that continues to go on. So Hecarim is still, still farming up, sitting on 1,500 gold, can go back, probably can finish an Iceborne Gauntlet when he goes back. Their team did not have vision. Actually, for some reason, they're checking Baron. He must have fired the True Shot before the ward went down. That ward only was just placed. So there's the Sheen. Okay, not quite enough to finish the Iceborne Gauntlet, but there's the Sheen coming out. Sheen synergizes really well with Hecarim just because he is constantly using those Qs, those Rampages, I guess they're called, and he's proccing Sheen constantly, all throughout a fight. So it's an item that works really well with him. And as a champion that needs to build tanky, Iceborne Gauntlet works better on him in most situations than a Trinity Force would. Trinity is not bad on him, but against a team like this that's very, very heavily AD stacked, building armor and also getting the Sheen proc just works really well. Anyway, so this game, like I said, still far from decided. There is still plenty of room for each team to make a maneuver on Dragon or Baron. We knew that Dragon was getting ready to spawn. We had, what was it? Let's see if I can find the timer. Okay, it was 22:29. That means it respawns at 28:29. So this is why you take timers. We were taking the timer. Varus popped his W very slightly too early, but 28:29, and there's the Dragon. So we were on top of this. Their team, I don't think, had a timer because we killed the Dragon, so they are not ready to do this, and we're all sitting here ready to kill the Dragon when it respawns. So for those of you, again, if you want to, I've mentioned this before in other videos, but if you want to think of sort of a simple thing that you can use to try to improve your play, something as simple as taking timers for Dragon and Baron, and then being in position to kill them when they respawn really can make a difference. Anyway, in top lane, Hot Muffins finally managed to get the best of that 1v1, and he was able to take out Elmo and that killing spree. And you know, you never really want to give a 500 gold killing spree over to Nasus because he scales so well in the late game. So that's a bit of a trouble sign there. I mostly like the Nasus build, but I don't think he should build Aegis, and I don't think he should have built Shirelia's. That was more of a Season 2 Nasus build. Anyway, Fallen's going to flash right there. I think he was trying to flash grab, and here comes the teleport in from Nasus. So they're burning a lot of summoners here, and they were looking to put pressure on Baron. Not the worst idea. After all, Elmo is, you know, still dead. He still has a timer up there. So our team just needs to stall them off Baron. That's kind of what we need to do. And we're going to catch Talon out a little bit over here. But the rest of the team is going to come in and engage. Amumu is going to come in there. I use the Lulu Wild Growth. It's a pretty good Amumu ult. He hits 4 of us. Meanwhile, Hecarim going to dash in, going after Ezreal. He's going to Arcane Shift away, and Arcane Shift away out of danger. Meanwhile, we're doing a pretty good job down here, but a lot of people are falling. In comes Trundle on the back end of this fight. He's going to flash after Talon, and he will pick up that kill. And now it looks really good for us, but now Akosap's going to flash in. He's going to kill me as Lulu. He's going to kill Hilarious Lee. And when the dust settles from this fight, Akosap's picked up a triple kill, and it's a 5-for-4 trade. And that was misplayed at the tail end of that fight by our team. We should have been able to get out of that without so many deaths. The last 2 deaths on Ziggs and on myself as Lulu were very needless. And by the way, this was just a real misuse of skills. I was trying to use Exhaust during the fight, but I did not get Exhaust off on a crucial target, and that's really a big deal. When you play a champion on support, you really need to get off a good exhaust in a team fight like this. So either Ezreal, Talon, or Nasus would all be good targets, and not using that on any of them in the fight is a real misplay. So overall, I mean, our team slightly comes out ahead in that fight. The big thing we needed to do is we needed to keep them off of Baron while they had that 5v4 advantage, and we did do that, but nonetheless, it was a bit of a sloppy fight. We could have played that a lot better. And I wasn't too satisfied with how that went. I really think that should have gone smoother, and we should have won that fight a lot more decisively than we did. That said, give credit to the other team. Akosap's played that fight really well. He got a triple kill at the tail end of that fight. It was a good Amumu ult from It Is Sam. Played that pretty well. And so, I mean, you give them credit, but we could have played that fight a lot better. And in particular, I could have played that fight a lot better. VarisNox played it pretty well as Hecarim in that fight. He dashed into the back lines. He went right onto Ezreal. Ezreal and Talon are kind of the 2 biggest priority targets. So jumped right onto Ezreal, forced him to Arcane Shift away, and just made that difficult. Anyway, we spotted Nasus down here in the bottom lane. We knew Nasus' teleport was down, so we decided we would put pressure on Baron. That was our thought here. And we really should have just done this right now, looking at this replay. Their team seemed to be totally unaware of what was going on. So, you know, we were thinking, should we do this? Should we not do this? But we're kind of wasting our time. And while that's going on, Hilarious Lee is unfortunately going to get caught here. He's going to use his Zanya's, but he's still really gotten caught out of position. VarisNox is going to go in. It's a nice Ziggs ultimate. It's going to hit a couple people right there. But we are going to lose our own Ezreal right away, and that is what is really the big issue in this fight. We lose Ezreal way too early. Out comes the true shot from their own Ezreal, and now we're just trying to get out of this fight right there. Amumu is going to bandage toss in. Meanwhile, Elmo is going to get a double kill on the back line, but we lost our own Ezreal so early in the fight. Just makes it really hard to win this engagement. Meanwhile, Kosup's once blood, he's going in. I'm going to toss the Lulu shield on the Hilarious Lee, and I'm going to flash that Mystic shot that probably would have killed me. So we're able to get out of this fight. It was I mean, technically it's a 3-for-2 in our favor, but we're so low that there's not a whole lot we can do in terms of defending this. And oh, Hilarious Lee sticking around too long. Akosup's making the plays once again. Really nicely done. That double buff Ezreal, so scary. Just don't want to see that. So 3-for-3 overall. I guess it could have gone worse. Amumu did steal our red buff. A nice play from It Is Sam, going in and stealing that. But definitely feels like their team came out on top from that particular fight. Even if it is a 3-for-3, really feels like they were the ones who came out on the winner side in that particular fight. Again, we had someone caught out of position. That's 2 straight fights where someone's been caught out of position. First time, we had Elmo die in top lane, and then that time it was Hilarious Lee getting caught in mid, having to use his Zanyas, and then we sort of were forced to fight that. Again, that's unfortunate because it was a situation where we had pressure on Baron, and we might have been able to just take Baron if we had done it early, but we ended up fighting a battle that we really weren't that interested in. Still, nonetheless, we've got a lot of items coming out. this build from Trundle is starting to get really scary. 4-item Trundle now, pushing towards 5-item Trundle. Look at Igo Elmo. He's got a lot of attack damage, a lot of armor pen, and a lot of health there too. I mean, it's just starting to get scary with all of these items. And then Hecarim has now also got the Iceborne Gauntlet, and I'm not 100% sure what that's going towards at this point. Have to see. I believe that this is building towards... I believe this is actually building towards Zephyr, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember all the details from this game. I'll have to look back at it and see. Anyway, though, so Baron is still up. Baron is very much in play for both teams. I've picked up the Oracle, and I face-check into Fallen Asylum and nearly get pulled into their team and killed. People were asking it in the stream chat during the game was, when do you buy an Oracle? Well, this is sort of a classic time. We've got a Baron standoff. Their team has pink wards everywhere in the brush. They have really good vision around Baron. Go check out their vision. So this is a great time to build an Oracle and start clearing out their vision. Their team doesn't have an Oracle. No, doesn't have an Oracle. So really it's going to come down to which team can get a really good fight and take this next Baron. You know, take this Baron. That's kind of what it's going to come down to. Anyway, we're going to use the Oracle to start clearing out this vision, and there's still a lot of poking back and forth mid. Meanwhile, Talon does go off the bottom lane, and as soon as we see Talon in bottom lane, we're like, you know what? We should start forcing pressure on Baron because they don't have their full team here. You know, Talon is still running back. You know, we can force a fight before he gets to there. So we're going to put pressure on Baron and try to force them. Now, this is a risky play. I mean, this is dangerous. But their team is going to come in here and engage. By the way, another great pillar. And they're fighting 4v5 because they still do not have Talon there. We're going to get off a lot of damage in this fight before he's able to get there. So we've already managed to pick off 2 kills right here. Amumu's blown his ult. Most ultimates have come out. So we're going to pick off Amumu. Now all that's left is Ezreal and Talon. I have the Oracle, so Talon cannot get stealth. It's a very close fight, but we've gone 3 for 1 here. And Akosat's is going to try to get away. There's the speed up from Lulu, and hilariously finishes that off with the auto attack and his passive on Ziggs. So again, a chaotic fight, but we were able to force that fight before. Talon was able to get in there. He was able to get in, had to come in there a little bit late, and I feel like that was just enough to make the difference in that fight. We got a good ultimate from Hecarim in that particular fight. We actually used Hecarim ult and then immediately used Wild Growth on Hecarim to knock them up. And that actually set up the Mega Inferno Bomb from Ziggs. So we used Hecarim ult into the middle of their team, the knock-up from Lulu, and then we hilariously tossed the Ziggs bomb onto their team while they were grouped up from that. So even though they did get a pretty good Amumu ult, we were still able to come out on top. By the way, there, another great pillar, and then the, what's that skill called? Another minefield, explosive minefield, slowing them, preventing them from chasing us. So we're going to disengage from this. And then what we need to do is we need to buy and heal quickly, and we need to get back to Baron. We need to make sure they don't rush Baron. That's really the most dangerous play that their team could pull off right now, is quickly heal and buy and rush Baron while we're still back at base. I actually bought the Home Guard boots for that very reason, just so that I could rush back to Baron. But as it turned out, they went ahead and they cleared out bottom lane. So no immediate danger to Baron in any case. Okay, over here, so what is VarisNox building? He has now picked up the Stinger, and again, I believe that this is going towards Zephyr, if I remember this correctly, just for the extra movement speed, and the tenacity, because he doesn't have any tenacity, and wanted some to deal with that Wither. Anyway, we were in an interesting situation here. So Nasus is down in bottom lane. Nasus got the teleport. He's split pushing. How much damage does he have on his Q? A lot. Look at this, plus 504 on his Siphoning Strike. That's a lot of damage on that Siphoning Strike. So we're in a position where Nasus has teleport. He's split pushing. We do not have any kind of global ultimate of our own. We don't have a teleport. We don't have like a Twisted Fate or anything like that. We don't have Shen. So we were like, look, we need to, force a fight around Baron, because if we just sit here, Nasus is going to split push us to death. We need to force an engagement. We need to force him to teleport in. So we were like, look, we've got the Oracle. They have no wards here. We're just going to have to force something. We should force something at Baron. So let's get Elmo down here. Again, Nasus still split pushing. Let's force the action. Force him to teleport in, because otherwise, if we don't do something, he's just going to take our base. So anyway, we're going to, continue to put pressure here. And we're going to wait for him to teleport in. And here comes the teleport in, so I'll go ahead and let's slow the action down. Here comes Nasus, but again, their team is not together. They're coming in a bit late. We were able to blow up Thresh very early. He actually gets a pretty good the box. There is the Whimsy onto, once again, same combo, Wild Growth onto Hecarim. Again, the Mega Inferno Bomb hits a whole bunch of them too. Elmo is coming in. Ikosa is a little bit too far behind the fight. We're able to burst down Talon. Again, still the Oracle. He can't escape into stealth. Now the focus shifts to Nasus. He will go down, actually to Lulu of all things. And another great pillar. There is the Hecarim ult to reposition, force them back. It is Sam is the only one still left alive, and you're not going to escape a Trundle and a Hecarim here. Where is that pillar? There it is. Another beautiful pillar. Triple kill for Hecarim, and that is an ace, and that should be the game off of that. So again, the key thing there was realizing that we had to force a fight of some kind. We could not let Nasus just sit there and split push us into oblivion. I mean, that was a dangerous fight. Forcing Baron like that was dangerous. There was a lot of risk in that, but in the end, it did pay off, and their team came in a little bit late, a little slow, weren't quite coordinated in that fight, and we were able to use our skills really well in that particular engagement. So a good game, a fun game. There is the pull, but not going to be able to... Oh, wow, Fallen actually jumps into the middle of our team, but the Nexus goes down, and that is going to be that. So a good game, an entertaining game. Really noteworthy game just because of the sort of the bizarre champion lineup that we have. I have not played a game with top lane Trundle and mid lane Ziggs, probably ever, if I have to be perfectly honest. I don't think I've played a game with that lineup. But the Trundle, Hecarim, and Ziggs sort of pairing made this game very interesting. Anyway, kudos all around for a very entertaining game. We got to see some interesting Thresh play, an Ezreal versus Ezreal mirror match. And in terms of gold total, it was really carried on the basis of these three champions on our side. And Ezreal was really, really strong. Ikosa played a great game. I know the scoreline for Fallen doesn't look that great. 3-11-12 looks bad, but he actually played a very good Thresh game, and they were completely in control of that bottom lane. Just a little, just one or two mistakes from over-aggression. Anyway, though, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you can see a little bit about how to build a champion like Hecarim, how to build a top lane Trundle, if anyone wants to try that. And anyway, just hope you guys enjoyed this. I didn't have a chance to play League, so I wasn't able to put up some League videos for a couple days, but should be some more upcoming over the weekend. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. See you guys again soon. Take care.